Hi Connelly Clan fam! So if you have been watching, you know that we have been homemaking things, or at least trying. So I thought if you want to come along on this journey with us, we would start with something really simple, making homemade taco seasoning. So the recipe I printed, I will link that down below, but we're going to start with, it is called Copycat Taco Bell Taco Seasoning Recipe. Our kids love Taco Bell, and I thought it would be a really good recipe to try out. And sometimes, you know, like we'll buy some of the taco seasoning from Walmart versus Aldi, and they do taste really different. So we're going to go ahead and try this one, and I'm going to follow the recipe, which is not a large batch of it. It's a smaller batch, but I wanted to start there so we could at least try it out and just make sure that we like it and don't want to tweak some of the seasonings. So the first thing we have here is chili powder. And then we have onion powder, we have oregano, cumin, we have garlic powder, paprika, regular salt, and I use Himalayan salt. Sometimes we use Celtic salt, but I usually never use just regular table salt. So we have Himalayan salt here. We have our cayenne pepper and our black pepper, and then we have sugar and cornstarch. So those are the seasonings and the ingredients that are going to go in our taco seasoning. Now I got this bowl here, and it has a little spout on it because we got a couple new gadgets from Amazon that this will be the first time that I've tried them, but I'm excited because I think it's going to make this a little bit easier. So I've got these jars here, and they have like a cork on the top to keep them closed and a little spoon to get the stuff out of it. But I bought 5 of them. If you can see, I have them on the back of our stove here. So I'm going to put some of the other seasonings we make too, like we're going to make our own homemade ranch seasoning, and I'm going to keep that in these jars. So I also bought a funnel, and they fold up like this, and I have 3 different sizes. And I thought this would make it so much easier to put it in the jar to pour the seasoning in. So we're going to try that and see how that works. But first, let's start with our first ingredient, which is the chili powder. And we are going to do 1 tablespoon of the chili powder. So this is a brand new one. I haven't even opened it yet. I got a lot of these seasonings in my grocery haul from Aldi. So it says 1 tablespoon. And that is a little too big to fit in the jar. So I'm going to go ahead and just pour it out. All right, so there's 1 tablespoon. Pour that in. And if you know me, you know I like to clean up as I go, so I'm going to set these off to the side, and then they will just all in one swoop go back in my cabinet. So then onion powder here, I've got onion powder, and that says 2 teaspoons. So I'm going to take teaspoon, I have my 1 teaspoon, and we're going to do 2 teaspoons of onion powder. Next is 3 teaspoons of dried oregano. So 3 teaspoons. Teaspoon. So I've got 1, 2, and 3. Now we have been homemaking a lot of things, and they actually have been turning out. I have been very impressed. The kids have been helping. They all beg me to help, and we have to just rotate through our kids because they really want to all make everything. And so I have kids saying, hey, I haven't got a turn yet, or my turn was a long time ago. But we've been doing really well with the homemade things, even though we're very brand new at it. It has been going really well. Next is 1 teaspoon of ground cumin. So let's see here, I've got my teaspoon, and I should be able to get that in there. So 1 teaspoon of ground cumin. You know, what's funny is usually when I use cumin, I usually use just a little less than it tells me, because there's just something about the flavor of cumin that I can always tell if it's in something. It just is very powerful for me. And then we got 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. Then we have 1 teaspoon of paprika. Now 1 teaspoon of salt, and I do not want to just put it in here because I want to measure it out. So I'm going to go grab a little dish. We have these little dishes that Christian uses, and we've actually had them for a long time, I think since maybe Lily was little, and I just got them at Walmart. So I'm going to go ahead and put some salt in this dish. And I need 1 teaspoon of this. Now, sometimes we'll buy the Celtic salt and we'll buy it already ground up. That is way easier. But where we get it is called Natural Grocers, and it's fairly close to our house, but I keep forgetting to run there. So I need to make a run so we have some already ground up salt. Let's see if that is enough. Ooh, that is good. Actually, I think I did a little extra. Okay, there it is, guys. So there's my 1 teaspoon of salt. I'm going to put that in there. 1/4 of a teaspoon of the cayenne pepper. And that is good because my kids don't like things overly spicy. But I do like things with a little bit of a kick. So we're going to take this lid off, and 1/4 of a teaspoon of the cayenne pepper. Now we are almost at the end here. So we've got regular pepper, and this also says 1/4 of a teaspoon. Now, let's see, 1 teaspoon, so a teaspoon of the sugar. And I was really surprised to see that there is sugar in this recipe because you don't really taste it. And last, an optional thickener. And I think I'm going to go ahead and put this in. So it says 1 teaspoon of cornstarch. So I have that here. And this recipe also says that you could use a sugar substitute if you want, or you could use a substitute for the cornstarch, like it says xanthan gum. You could use that instead. But I'm going to go ahead and just use the cornstarch because that is what I have. So let me double check teaspoon. Now I'm teaching my kids that you always double check yourself. So the other day Emma was making, gosh, what was she making? She was making, vanilla wafer cookies. And she couldn't understand why the dough was so thick. It just kept breaking into tiny little pieces. It would not stick together. And so as we talked about what makes that dough a little bit stickier, which was the milk, she realized that she did not put in triple the amount of milk. So we were tripling the recipe, and that is just because we have such a big family, but she tripled everything except for the milk. So once we walked through that, she realized, oh shoot, that's what I forgot. And once she put in the rest of the milk, it was perfect. So I always have the kids think through and double check themselves, which I feel like is a really good skill to learn. So now it says to combine all the ingredients and go ahead and mix them up. So let's mix them here in my little bowl. And I want to make sure that I get it really good and mixed. That way I'm getting a little bit of all of the seasonings when I put it in my taco meat. Now we are getting ready to make a taco pasta for a lunch, which is something new. We usually do taco stuff in the evenings, but we're going to make a taco pasta for lunch. So I'm going to use this for our taco meat. Let's see how that looks. My mother-in-law got me this whisk right here, and I'm not sure where she got it from, but it whisks and it goes up and down like this, and so I can break up any clumps that I have, and it really has come in handy. I really like it. I'll have to ask her where she got it from. Okay, I feel like that's pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to take the lid off of this, and I'm going to move my spoon out of the way, and we are going to put this funnel on here, and we're going to see if this works out. See if I maybe need a little bit bigger one. That might be easier. Okay, so let's go ahead and try pouring this in. I went ahead and I thought maybe I'd use the smaller one, but I decided I'm going to go ahead and use this little bit bigger one. I think it's going to be a little bit easier to fall down in there. And so let's try this. Woohoo! It's coming out more than the spout. All right. I think I'm going to use my little spoon here, get the rest of it out. I think that is it. I'm going to go ahead and knock this all down here. Now I did get a little bit on my counter, if you can see, but the good thing is I just cleaned my counters, so I know they are clean, and I can go ahead and put this in here. So this is all it made, which is not much. I'm going to have to go back and see. I think you use only 2 teaspoonfuls when you do your cooking, like when you add it to your meat. So there's one. So there's quite a bit in here if all you use is 2 teaspoonfuls. I'll have to go back. It doesn't tell me in this recipe how much to actually put in your meat, and I'm sure that it will be different for everyone because according to how you want it to taste. I'll have to look at the individual packets and see. Actually, you know what? I have one here. Let's look. So I actually have our 2 different kinds. Here's my Walmart one, which is Old El Paso. And then here is my Aldi one, which is Casa Mamita. And let's see how much is in here. So this is 1 ounce, and this is also 1 ounce. So they are 1 ounce packets. All right, so I was wrong. It's not teaspoons, it's tablespoons. So that is something you want to make sure that you get right, because your taco meat would not taste very taco-y if you didn't put the right amount in. So it would be 2 tablespoons of the taco seasoning. So there's probably only 2 servings in this jar right here. So I will want to definitely make more, and so I will just go ahead and figure out then, if we really like this recipe, how to convert that into a larger batch. But for now, we're going to go ahead and just try this. I am going to go ahead and put it back up on our stove here and use it then for our taco pasta lunch. So hopefully you guys had fun coming along with us. I know that it didn't take very long. That was really quick, actually. I think next time I'm going to do the ranch seasoning packets. I have it's like a Hidden Valley powdered ranch copycat recipe that I want to try, because we buy those 1 ounce packets of the Hidden Valley Ranch, and I mix that in with sour cream, and we use that a lot of times for salads or for vegetable dips. And I really want to see about making our own. Those boxes are like $5 for a box of 4 right now, and I know we could definitely make it cheaper than that. So, and that is really what this is all about. Not only homemaking things to be healthier, because I do think that that is awesome and I definitely want to be healthier, but also homemaking things so we can save money, especially right now, and make less trips to the store eventually by having all of the homemade items in our home. I think that I would like to go ahead. Now, we don't have Sam's or Costco memberships right now. In Texas, there is a Sam's next to the Aldi we shop at, and so I think I'm going to go ahead and eventually get a Sam's membership, because now that we're homemaking things, we are like going through a lot of flour and sugar and seasonings, and so those would be great items to buy in bulk. Also, what I've noticed is that we are using a lot of extra cheese, and so that would be another item to buy in bulk. I'm curious what you guys purchase in bulk. Before, when we were eating the way that we were eating, I felt like it just made more sense, and a lot of their items, their convenience items, are like half price of Walmart. So it made more sense to me to just buy that stuff from Aldi. But now that we're using a lot of things, like the flour, the sugar, the cheese, the seasonings, that almost makes more sense to me now to buy bulk of those items. So I think we're going to do that. But I would like to know, what do you guys buy in bulk that saves you money? Put it in the comments down below and let me know. And also, I'd be curious, how many of you guys are interested in coming on this journey with us, the homemaking journey, doing the homemade seasonings, and we will eventually get into other homemade things. We've been making vanilla wafers, pretzel bites, we have been making bread and all of our own doughs, and it's so much easier than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be hard, and it is not. The homemade yogurt, that turned out awesome. So let me know if you're coming on the journey with us. I would be so curious to see if any of you are wanting to take this journey too, and become a little bit more homemade and a little bit more self-sufficient. But we will see you guys next week in our next homemade video. Bye.